So good evening to those in the East Coast, good afternoon to those in the West Coast, and of course, good morning to all of you in Japan. My name is Fabiano Rocha, and I am the Japan Studies Librarian at the University of Toronto Libraries, and this is my second year as NCC Chair. The NCC, as many of you know, works to expand and improve access to library resources and information about Japan through collaboration with institutions and organizations in North America, Japan, and beyond. For quite some time, NCC has made efforts to improve information about digital humanities and digital scholarship with a Japan focus, and the Comprehensive Digitization and Discoverability Program is a perfect example of how NCC tries to achieve this goal. It is with great pleasure that we are here today for the second CDDP Award Program. The CDDP video series sheds light on a wide range of digital projects that can be extremely useful and inspirational for viewers to discover, create, participate, and collaborate and study and learn. We're excited to be here today to celebrate the exceptional work done by this year's award winners. Without further ado, I would like to invite the chair of the CDDP, Task Force Chair, Toshi Yamada, to introduce the CDDP and the CDDP Award Program. Toshie-san, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Fabiano. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. As many of you know, the Comprehensive Digitization and Discoverability Program, CDDP, was formed to take on the challenging task of crafting a replacement for the very successful and impactful multi-volume sets project. At its first conception, we drafted these guiding principles. It should help bring to light hidden collection through digitization. It should enable more robust use of digitized materials. It should promote collaboration. It should foster training. And it should help strengthen international ties. Here are the current CDDP Task Force members. I'm Toshi Yamada from UC Berkeley, serving as co-chair of the task force. Other members are Dr. Kiyonori Nagasaki from International Institute for Digital Humanities, Haruko Nakamura from Yale, Setsuko Noguchi from Princeton, and Fabiano Rocha from University of Toronto, and Tara McGowan from NCC as ex officio. When the CDDP was first conceived in 2018, there was a dearth of digitized Japanese materials. That dramatically changed with the widespread adoption in Japan of a new approach to providing access to digital images called IIIF. Because of the increasing availability of Japanese digitized images from Japanese institutions, and also because of the challenges and obstacles created by the COVID-19 pandemic, we have shifted our focus from digitization to more fully on training, innovating robust use, collaborations, and building international ties for the past 3 years. That's how we began the CDDP video series, the project funded by the Toshiba International Foundation, TIFO. Each video in the series aims to enable researchers and librarians to more fully take advantage of the possibilities of the digital medium by introducing the advantages and disadvantages of specific digital tools. The CDDP video series currently offers 20 videos that highlight various useful resources. They include portal platforms such as Japan Search and Cultural Japan, providing access to millions of images, as well as tools for enhancing interactions with digitized images and for improving comprehension of text in many different ways. These short videos of 10 to 15 minutes long each were contributed by various scholars listed here on the right-hand side section of the slide. Those highlighted in green were added during the past year. In the order of listing on the website, the first, the Niger database, specifically the Union Catalog of Early Japanese Books, Nihon Kotenseki Sogo Mokroku database, and the database of pre-modern Japanese works, Shin Nihon Kotenseki Sogo database, which are now incorporated into the new Union Catalog database of Japanese texts, Kokusho database, contributed by Professor Jeffrey Knapp of Nigel. The second, the database, a custom-built online research database contributed by Risako Hirano, a graduate student at the Art Research Center, Ritsumeikan University. The third, SAT Daizokyo text database by Professor Kiyonori Nagasaki. And the last, ARC Kuzushiji transcription support and archiving system by Emily Lee of ARC, Ritsumeikan University. These contributions were solicited by the CDDP task force. Since we wanted to have more contributions from anyone interested to share their research projects and tools, we began the CDDP Award Program in 2021 with the funding from TIFO. Here are the two videos that won the CDDP awards back then, which are now included in the CDDP video series website. And here is a summary of selection criteria for the 2022 to 23 CDDP award program, which were the same as the 2021 program. For the 2022-23 CDDP award program, which is funded by the Next Decade donation drive, a call for submissions was announced in early October last year, and the submission deadline was originally set at the end of January, which was extended by 1 week due to some technical issues we encountered. By the final deadline of February 8th, we received 2 submissions, but later one of them was withdrawn. Since only one application remained, the task force decided not to offer public viewing this time. Now, I am pleased to announce that this year's CDDP Award Great Digitization Project with Vintage Videos goes to the Film Cycle project team, led by Professor Osamu Sahara and Professor Akihiro Tsukamoto of Tokushima University. Their video is entitled Film Cycle Project, Learning about Japan through Digital Archive Technology. And here is a part of the description given by the project team, and I quote, Film Cycle is a design project that aims to make an effective cycle of personal media using old and personal footage that includes 8mm films and various photos taken in the 20th century, using digital technology to display these media in a cohesive sequence. Personal and collective stories play important roles to establish new media, which weaves next narratives to be shared within and beyond communities. We examined how to preserve and reuse those personal media to contribute to create a world of empathy. End of quote. Congratulations. Because one of the award selection criteria states that videos introducing not just project content, but also the tools used to build them are looked upon favorably in keeping with the aim of the CDDP video series. The task force requested the team to provide further details about ArcGIS story maps, a tool used to create custom maps with the objective of enhancing storytelling, in the hopes to gain further insight into the tool that was mentioned in the original submission. The presentation will be followed by a Q&A. If you have any questions for the Film Cycle Project team, please feel free to write in the chat anytime. And now let's welcome the Film Cycle Project team. Professor Osamu Sahara, Mayuno Saijo, and Professor Akihiro Tsukamoto are joining us tonight. And Professor Sahara, please share your slides and begin.
Okay, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Hello, everybody, and it is an honor to receive such a great award, and we are so excited about it. And let us explain about our film cycle project and the background theory and ArcGIS part. Okay, let us begin. So let me explain the film cycle project again. And the film cycle is a design project that aims to make an effective cycle of personal media using old and personal footage, and that includes 80mm films and various photos taken in 20th century, using digital technology to display these media in cohesive sequence, personal and corrective stories to play important role to establish new media, which waves next narratives to be shared within and beyond the communities. So we examine how to perceive and reuse personal media for contributing to a world of empathy through learning about Japan. So we are in Tokushima, and we have a lot of elder people in our community, and they have like glass plate photos, and also 80mm films. And it's a matter of the time to disappear when they kind of, pass away. They tend to dispose those films. So we start to collect those films with our university student. So university student gather those films, and also they collect the stories behind the photographs and the 80mm films. And sometimes we invite high school student or the other university student to colorize those photos. Sometimes we use AI to colorize 80mm film also. And we hold the exhibition and invite elder people to this exhibition and share the stories. So through this process, we gather personal media and we reuse it from public point of view. And we can raise civic pride for elder people, and we can, encourage to develop, like deeper comprehension about our community. And a university student will be able to get like kind of mediator skill. And the background theme is kind of really important part. And the reality is one of the important keys to deeper comprehension. Like television has become a media which makes the audience consume even the cruelty of war. Social reality has become a situation in which images are overflowing. That is in 2001 from like NHK researcher, and this in 20 years we are kind of don't have a kind of any of the reality to the TV media or those images. So the Professor Fujie, he's an art education researcher. He says it is important to perceive reality from an image through student physical analogies by manipulating the image in 1993. And we have been working based on this theory, and it is important to perceive reality from digital image. So manipulating the image, like edit and magnifies and play the video in slow motion and draw and paint like a colorization, and then repeat that again and again. We call that kind of, scratching the image media. And student will start to perceive reality from an image through student like physical analogies by doing that. So does it work? That's colorization effective? Let us explain. And when I show interviewee the black and white photos, they tend to talk about corrective stories. But instead, we use colorized photo. Interviewee started to talk more about their personal stories. So we want to understand more about the world from the personal experience. So colorization photo works that way. And this is a photo from 1944. And we gathered a lot of really interesting photographs during World War II. This is a bamboo sphere holding by girls during World War II. And we could have an interview with one of them, and they said it's kind of meaning no, it's kind of really. They thought it doesn't work at all. How can we win with this kind of weapon? But a lot of people yell at me. So just 仕方ない. Let us just do it. Blah blah blah. And it was a really great moment to talk about how they perceived the reality at that time, and we gathered more. Interesting like photograph during World War II, and this is one of the interesting photo during 1960, I guess. Can you see what they're doing? They are observing this. This is a satellite, first satellite Soviet Union launched, and it's called the Sputnik. And they are observing the shadow the Sputnik are crossing in front of the sun. And then there's a photo. This is a photo I explained in my presentation. And this is a photograph we gathered. They are working in the weapon factory during World War II. And we colorized those photos. And we received a lot of photos, and we colorized like this. And, a lot of like interviewee started to feel this, revive, reborn. So they started to feel more like tactile sensation, and they kind of deeply understand about how it was like at the time. And so colorization will give you high reality, and high reality will lead to deeper comprehension. So moreover, when we colorize a photo, some of those students start to see the color, even though it's a black and white photo. I have been working on like more than 100. So even just black and white photo, I started to see the color. I start create a color in my brain. And some students will see students start to feel the scent or start to hear the sound while they're working on this kind of project. And some of them feel kind of tactile sensation, like the space or their skin, tactile sensation, somatic kind of feeling. And it is really interesting to have this kind of perception. So I define this type of knowledge ability as a visually triggered ideated somatic knowledge, VTISC. And also my research shows this type of like sensation, generative sensation in your mind. I used brain analysis by using like NIRS, near infrared spectroscopy, and surely this ideation ability can be developed through art-based activities. This is really the key of deeper comprehension. So in conclusion, using art-based activities through the digital archiving activity of the personal media will give participants a deeper comprehension of the reality of the media. It is a case in facilitated deeper comprehension about the local community in Japan for the student participants. Further, they have done a meaningful thing and have contributed to their local society. So this is our future goal. In addition to the interview work, AI's contextualization ability is getting so powerful. By using those engines, we are planning to contextualize the 80mm film database. So our future goal is about to create a database that allows us to analyze past events via personal media, as it's like applying citizen journalism we do over social network services in this 21st century to the past. So let's switch to our student Saijo, and she's going to explain about mapping works for the film cycle project. Please go ahead, Saijo-san.
はい。はい。ここからはフィルムサイクルプロジェクトのマッピング部門になります。はい。大まかなマッピングの手順を説明します。まずはフィルムの映像から手がかりとなる事物を見つけ出し、デジタルマップ上で映像と位置をリンクさせていきます。で、その後、昭和初期と昭和後期に分けてマッピングしました。で、そして特に興味深いフィルムについては、個別に詳細なストーリーマップを作成しています。で、そうして出来上がったのがこちらのストーリーマップとフィルムサイクルプロジェクト昭和初期編です。1933年から1937年に撮影されたフィルムを集めています。彼らのふるさとである徳島県と、そして東京周辺や大阪周辺で撮影されているものが多くありましたが、驚くべきことに中には北海道や満州などで、そういうところで撮影された動画もありました。私にとって馴染みのない海外やヒントとなる地物が少ない田舎で撮られたフィルムは地点を特定するのがとても困難でした。で、左の一覧になっているサムネイルの一つをクリックすると、その動画の撮影地点に地図がズームされます。一部詳細なストーリーマップに飛ぶことのできるボタンを設けているものもあります。緑のボタンを押すと、このような一つのフィルムに注目したストーリーマップが開きます。こちらのストーリーマップでは、動画の展開に沿って撮影者の移動を地図上で追跡することができます。当時の人々がどのようなプランやルートで旅行していたのかがわかります。また、地図上の位置と動画の再生地点をリンクさせているので、映像内の景色が現在のどこに該当するのかが一目でわかります。右の画像はフィルムサイクルプロジェクトのウェブサイトです。ここでは3つのカテゴリーに分けられ、そのカテゴリーのすべての動画を見ることができます。はい、では、これまでの内容をまとめますまずは映像に出てくる地点を一つ一つ手作業で特定しました。で、次に昭和初期と後期に分けました。これはインデックスマップになっており、動画を場所から検索することができます。で、そして特に興味深いフィルムについては、地図と映像の場所が連動するストーリーマップを作成しました。はい、で、これで私たちの発表は以上になります。ありがとうございました。
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so interesting. Now it's Q&A time, and then this session will be moderated by Fabiano and Haruko-san. And I wonder if you want to see the screen. I mean, having this set, or
Yeah, I think that's fine. So I
okay,
think
that's fine.
that
Okay.
Mara-san basically just said that if there's anybody in the audience that has specific questions to the film project team, you're welcome to put it on the chat, and then we're going to try to have them answered for you. Anything, either questions or comments? I think that it was a fascinating project, so I'm sure that people have impressions that they would like to express about this very interesting project, visually very appealing. Yeah. So maybe I will ask the first question while we wait for other people to come up with questions. So I was kind of curious about the way that you collected the movies from the community. How did you go about it? Did you have a specific announcement on a newspaper? How did people know that you were looking for this kind of footage for your project?
Okay, actually, we made a flyer and we asked the newspaper company to put it into the newspaper and deliver it into the community. That was the first step, and also we kind of walk around in the park and talk to the old people. Do you have any 80 mm films? And some of them say, "Oh, must be." He is really good about making a film, so he must have it. Blah blah blah. So we gathered that way. And we could make it a really, great connection by doing that.
Yeah, I was particularly interested in knowing how you actually reached out to people because sometimes of older generation, they might not actually be so connected with social media or technology in general. So it was very interesting that you were able to have this type of approach to approach people in person directly, plus other means like newspaper that they're probably still very used to using even nowadays. So do we have any other questions? Yeah, Haruko.
If it's okay, I will ask question too.
Yes.
I'm very interested in text mining part of your process. I'm little bit. I'm sorry if maybe I missed it, but when you have an interview, you text mine and then make that ingest in AI to assist coloring. I didn't get that part a lot. And then also like social media, like I guess if you're gonna do social media, you're gonna show it and then get the some of the opinions and then get the text mining to conceptualize the color. Is that what you're thinking about? Or I'm sorry, maybe I totally missed it.
Okay. Let us explain about it. And text mining part, we kind of gathered 80 millimeter films or the old black and white photos, and we want to correct the stories behind the photos. So we always have interview session with elder people. And we gather stories and we tried to find out what kind of feeling they get from colorization. So we did use the text analysis. Text mining. Sorry about that. So we use the text mining for what kind of quality they feel from colorization. And that AI is a totally separate thing. We want to create a, database which, we can search what kind of context we have with 8 millimeter films. So recent AI like ChatGPT-4 is really powerful to contextualize the 80 millimeter films like moving images. So we can, AI can figure out what's going on in moving image, and probably in the future they can determine the place or like the time and location. So so if we can do that, in addition to the collecting the information about the 80 millimeter films, like time and location, we can create a huge database. And in this 21st century, if something like fire or like accident happen, we can search by Twitter or like Instagram and find out what's going on. And we call that as civic journalism, not just like public broadcasting media, but we can search based on, civic personal media. So we want to do that in the past. So we can create a database with 80 millimeter films or old photos. We can search, what happened at the specific point. Does it make sense?
Yes, thank you. And
Okay.
it's so interesting. It's when you talk about reality, and then for my mind, the social media is somewhat distorted. Like it could be wrong information and the incorrect information it can be. So I was wondering also that part of it, and also feeling. I mean, that I realize I'm mixing up between the feeling of the interviewers, that the person who of the colorization versus AI tracking the information from the media. But it's just that it's a very I have to think a lot. It was giving me lots of things to think about. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
let me explain about the colorization part. And it's, the fake is getting really huge problem recent days. And colorization is such a, like controversial act. And it's kind of like making a fake. But we don't use that. We don't, we use that as like activate the memory. Given the interviewee, the fake color, they tend to feel like, this is not the right color, or this is something wrong there. So they start to remember what was like that time. So it's the key of the like memory activation. So we use colorization that way.
Thank you. I don't want to hog the interview because we have a question.
Yes, we do.
Fabiana, do you want to read it?
Yeah, sure. So it's from one of our attendees, Paula Curtis, and the comments are fascinating project in collecting materials from the public. I'm sure that there are many videos of historical value. Are you working in partnership with any existing archives or museums to help preserve and disseminate your findings? And I'm going to put it in the chat for you to read the comments.
Okay,
so in short, if you have a partnership of archives and museums.
Yep, we have like prefectural archive center, and some of the city like library all have kind of same project, and we in the future we planning to combine those all database together into the map using ArcGIS. So we are still on on track, but yeah, we're trying to collaborate with local database facilities.
Thank you. Let me see if there are any other questions. If no other questions, I have more questions.
Okay.
Mara-san sounds like she has.
Oh,
Yeah,
Mara-san, do you have a question or comment?
Yes, I have also a question. I also felt fascinating about the idea of creating a database of 8 millimeter films to analyze or verify past events via those personal media. Now, idea is particularly exciting, assuming that some, if not all, of the films collected this way will become openly available for anyone to use, right? So, can I ask you how you handle a donation agreement when your project accepts a donation of a film regarding its use? The Film Cycle Project website mentions, no license provided, request permission to use. But how do you handle such a permission to use?
We kind of made an agreement paper and talked to each individual donator, and most of them just agree on what they have, and they say, I don't know what's in my 8 millimeter film, but please use it. But we really have to care about each individual films, because some of them by the way, we upload to the YouTube, and the YouTube has own violation, so some of the film have like naked child. It was kind of normal to shoot a video during like 1960, 1970. There are kids, on plane in the ocean was naked. But we have to be very careful about what the context is, and we analyze all the films and find out what's the proper and context proper material to share with. So we are handling our 8 millimeter film database that way.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? If not, I think that mine is kind of related because it was more about the holder of the copyright. So I assume that when the donors sign the agreement, they are releasing the copyright to your project team, and then you can use as you wish. Or
Yes.
are there any particular donors who decided to put some restrictions?
Not really any. Yeah, some of the donors say this is a project. This is 8 millimeter film we shoot during 1970s, and he said he can use it in part of our project. But after all, his friend said that was my kurorekishi. It's like a shame of in their history. So they restrict to use it, and that kind of thing happens.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Are there any questions? So I guess we have time for maybe one more question. I do have a question if nobody else has. Haruko Toshie-san, do you have any other questions or comments?
I have a simple one.
Yes.
About
Okay.
story map. How do you differentiate between Showa Koki and Zenki and Koki?
After work. I'm talking about the definition of like Showa Zenki and Koki.
It's just how do you even know if it's the film is Showa, early Showa and later Showa?
usually early Showa, they use 9.5 millimeter film. It's not 8 millimeter film. So
I see.
it's kind of really easy to figure it out. And usually we have this kind of film comes with like this, and they always put the label on the 8 millimeter film so we can see what error they shoot the video. So kind of, separate before World War II and after World War II as early Showa and the later Showa.
I see. It's I just was wondering, you are doing it from content by looking at the.
Yeah, it's dependent on the case. Yeah.
I see. Thank you.
I believe that labeled donations of materials are archivist's dream because then you don't need to guess what's inside.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at the clock, and I think that we have quite a few other questions, but I think that we'll be able to probably contact you with further questions if offline, if we're able to. So I think that then I'm going to pass on to Mara-san to do some concluding remarks.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, reflecting the two CDDP award programs, both this year and last, we received great videos of introductions to online collections. As a new idea for future activities, launching a cool collections and awesome archives video series without introduction to digital tools has been brought up among the task force members. Well, this is just an idea, and we have not sorted out any details, but we are eager to hear your comments. If you have any, please send it to any of the CDDP task force members. And now, in closing the event, we especially want to thank the Film Cycle Project team, namely Sahara Sensei, Saijo-san, and Tsukamoto Sensei, for your participation tonight, or this morning, we should say, from Tokushima. Thank you also to those who contributed to the next decade donation drive, and the CDDP, particularly Dr. Regan Murphy-Carr of Stanford University. Regan served on the task force from the very beginning until very recently and contributed a lot. Thank you so much. And at last but not least, thank you all who joined the event tonight. Fabiano, do you want to say something?
Yeah, sure. I think that it's pretty much in the lines of what Toshie-san said right now. I just wanted to once again congratulate the winners of the CDDP Award program for their very captivating, visually stimulating, fascinating project. Of course, the CDDP task force members for their work in putting the program together. And to all of you who took the time out of your busy schedules to celebrate with us today. So I would like to thank you, particularly our guest from Japan, and we will look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
僕がもう一つ質問があったのが、このチームの中では、特にこの写真、この画像が好きだったとか、この動画が面白かったとか。
やっぱり、一番心に残ってるのは、早く早くスキャンしてくださいっていうオーダーが結構来た人が一人いるんですね。で、その人がなんでそんなに急いでるのかって後で聞いたら、自分の息子が3歳の時に亡くなっちゃって、で、その子が映ってるフィルムだっていう。で、フィルムの中には、もうその子の魂が宿っていて、 それを、1秒でも早く見たいと。で、本当に大事に取っておいたものなので、それが見れるようになって、本当にありがたかったっていうのが一番やっぱり心には残ってますよね。
ウェブサイトの方で、上映会っていうのが、
近くに
これでウェブサイトいけるのかな。
シェアスクリーンとかですか？
でもこっちで
シェアスクリーンできます。
こっちでシェアしますね。
はい。
このフィルムサイクルプロジェクトのホームページの方で、こちらがトップページになってますが、この8月22日に上映会をやったんですね。この上映会っていうのは、ドナーに対して、こういうフィルム映像がありましたよっていうのを、お披露目する会なんですが、この時には、学生の、学生がディレクターやってるんですけど、担当者ごとに。で、その担当者ごとにおすすめの動画を上映するんですね。とある学生さんは、このフィルムが面白かった。とある学生さんは、このフィルムが面白かったっていうように、おすすめのフィルムを紹介してくれます。で、その時に、そのおすすめのフィルムを集めたのが、こちら、お返し上映会のフィルムたちになっているというものになります。だから海外旅行のフィルムがあったりとか、パパに夢中みたいなのがあったりとかですね。でこの水しぶきとかいうのも、今もなんか残っている公園にあるとある、なんか水道の水なんですけど、すごい、なんか3、4メーターぐらい水が吹き上がるようなのがあったりするんですけども。
学生がタイトルつけてるね。
そうです。学生がタイトルつけてる。
そうなんですね。
いろんなフィルムがあったりします。
サンバのやつどこだっけ？
サンバ、阿波踊りとコラボレーションするやつ。
うん。とか、この辺が、あれだね。
ニ
ューヨークですね。
フラダンスショー。違うか。これはハワイに旅行行ったんです。なんか思い当たる。
で、この中では、例えばトップ1ビデオとか、結構気に入られているビデオとかは。
人気のビデオってことですね。
はい。
これですね。
ブラジルサンバ。
ブラジルサンバ。
ファビア
ノ。ファビアノさん。
はい。ぜひ。
再生ができない。
クリックし今クリックできないのかな？
あれなんでクリック
させていただきます。
はい、来た。
バブルの時は、いろいろお客さんを呼んでいたようで、ブラジルから、サンバの人たちが来て、阿波踊りと一緒に踊っているという、
すごい。
ちょっとカオスな映像です。この辺です。
サンバ
おすごいですね。
すごいコントラストですね。
そうなんですよ。こ
れ YouTube で弾かれそう。
そうなん、ギリギリだと思います。っていう、今じゃちょっとやっぱ考えられないような、ものが、面白いですね。
はい。ぜひまた、改
楽
め
しそう。
て。はい。
そう。私も、もう一つね、お伺いしたかったのはね、今、見せてくださったのは、その8ミリビデオだったんですけど、写真もあるっておっしゃられてましたよね。
はい。
で、写真はどういうふうに、して公開したりとかする していらっしゃるのかまだやってらっしゃらないのかわかりませんが、どういうふうにしてるのかなと思って。
写真はですね、集まってコミュニティの中でこう話し合うっていう時に、使うようにしています。で、我々よく使うのはミロっていうインタラクティブホワイトボードを活用するんですけれど、ミロの中で、これですね。スクリーンシェアサファリかシェア。よいしょ。待ってくださいね。これですね。で、こういうような上映会をやるときは、上映会のところに行って、どこにあるかな。鑑賞会。こういう感じですね。で、例えばですけど、こんな感じで、フィルムを全部並べられるんですね。で、その鑑賞会をやる前に、この時、背景としてどういうことがあったのか、なんていうことが、事前に調べたりしています。こんな感じで、やるんですが、よいしょ、固まってしまっている気がする。すみませんね、コンピューターが重いようです。よいしょ。で、写真も、今の感じでミロの上に並べて、一枚一枚鑑賞しながら、集まってくれた、おじいちゃんおばあちゃんたちと一緒に、この当時こういう写真があったんだけど、その写真を出してくれた人の、まあ、語ってくれるだけじゃなくって、その当時を知る専門家の人も集めて、実はこの当時この写真が撮られたってことは多分こういうことで撮られたんだと思うとかいうような解説まで含めて、まあ、鑑賞会を開くというような形でやっています。待ってくださいね。で、面白いのがあったんですけれど、例えばここには写真が並べています。長野さんっていう方の写真なんですが、これ、戦時中の写真です。ただ、パッと見ると、こういういかにも、出た。明治チョコレートを持ってる。
チョコレー
あ
トですね。
うん。で、す
戦
ごい写
後すぐってこと
そうです、そうです、そうです。で、これすごい写真だと思って見てたんですけど、この方、写真が超趣味で、これ戦時中でもうまさに徳島が空襲受けてるぐらいの時なんですけれど、こんな畳にガスマスクを置いたりとか、わざと日本語したりとか、写真が趣味な人なんで、このお母さんとか娘とかに、ここに座れとか、ガスマスク持ってこいとか言って、本当にベタな構図を作って、まあ、いわゆる、それっぽい写真を本当に趣味のようにしていたっていう。で、これだけ見ると戦争大変だなって思うんですけど、ストーリー聞くと、いや、もう本当にお父さんがめんどくさくってあれ持ってこい、ここに座れとかずっとやってたっていう、そういう写真。
で、なんか余裕を感じますね、しかし。
余裕を感じますね。このめちゃめちゃこんな構図で、バリバリのこんな綺麗な構図で撮れるわけないんで。
そうです
よね。
そうなんです。ただ、だから写真だけ見るとね、そういうのが分かってこないんですけど、みんなで集まって話をしてると、写真の専門家がいると、いや、この構図はこんなプロでしか撮れないし、そういうようなことが分かってくるという感じです。はい。
いや、リアリティって面白いですよね。何がリアリティかよくわかんなくなってきます。
そうなんです。
印象的ですもんね。
本当に綺麗な写真。
日本の国旗。
うん。
いや、素晴らしいですね、しかし。いや、ありがとうございました。
本当におめでとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。よいしょ、シェアをしましょう。
はい。大変面白いプロジェクトをご紹介いただき、ありがとうございます。
本当にありがとうございました。